A multi-tiered system of support, or MTSS, is a framework that offers support for early detection and prevention of reading difficulties. Key components of MTSS include the screening of all students and ongoing monitoring of their progress in core reading skills. When a school only assesses those students who are already demonstrating problems with reading, other students who are at risk for future reading difficulties can be overlooked. This is why universal screening is such a critical first step in determining the scope of reading support a school needs to offer. Universal screening provides an objective reading on student skills. This does not mean that teacher observation and judgment is unimportant. By monitoring student performance over time, teachers will make an important contribution in gauging a student's progress in both core and intervention programs. Screenings for reading difficulty should take place 2 to 3 times a year, at the beginning, middle, and perhaps the end of the school year. These mid-year screenings are especially important for your younger students, as the results are likely to give a more accurate picture of student skills than those obtained at the beginning of the year. A universal screening program requires school-wide coordination of staff and resources. Your school leadership team should be comprised of diverse members with a range of expertise, such as teachers, special educators, school psychologists, reading coaches, and the principal. The team will be responsible for a number of tasks, from managing basic logistics, such as determining who will administer the assessments and handling scheduling, to more involved responsibilities, such as selecting screening measures and establishing data decision rules to identify at-risk students. When considering which measures to adopt, the school leadership team should give special attention to each measure's efficiency, reliability, and proven validity. Specific factors to consider include ensuring that the appropriate reading skills are being measured, how accurately the measure predicts risk, and the cost. Screening measures should focus on appropriate reading skills for each grade level. In kindergarten, screening should assess letter knowledge, phonemic awareness, and expressive and receptive vocabulary. In first grade, focus should shift to phonemic awareness, decoding, word identification, and text reading. In second grade, screening should focus on word reading and passage reading. It may be necessary to use more than one screening measure in order to assess all of these skills. The accuracy of any given screening measure in predicting future reading ability is referred to as its predictive validity. Predictive validity has two aspects: its sensitivity, the degree of accuracy in which it correctly identifies students at risk for reading difficulties. and its specificity, its accuracy in identifying students at low risk for such difficulties. We are reminded to always use multiple sources of data when screening students, as any use of a single measure can often result in false positives. Using a variety of data sources for screening can both enhance the accuracy of the screening process and ensure that schools are not taxing their resources by providing intervention to an inflated percentage of the student population. When selecting which screening mechanisms to implement, it's important to factor in the various costs involved. Each additional measure requires more staff time to administer and may displace instruction. Moreover, interpreting multiple indices or measurement results can be a complex and time-consuming task. These factors should be carefully considered when selecting the number and type of screening measures to adopt. The team needs to be sure that their school has the capacity to meet the demands of the screening process and to consider alternatives such as training paraprofessionals to conduct screening rather than taking teachers away from classroom instruction. Interpretation of screening results requires grade level benchmarks or growth rates to determine which children are low, moderate, or high risk for developing reading difficulties. Grade level benchmarks indicate when a particular reading skill should be achieved. The Federal Office of Special Education Programs offers a good starting point for information on benchmark screening and progress monitoring through its National Center on Response to Intervention website. Once benchmarks have been established, the district will need to establish cut points or data decision rules to identify those students who are likely to reach proficiency without additional assistance. It is critical to keep in mind that no measure is perfectly reliable. When students' scores fall slightly below or above a cutoff score on a benchmark test, schools may wish to conduct an additional assessment of those students or monitor their progress for a period of 6 to 8 weeks to determine whether the student does, in fact, require additional assistance. Schools may need to refine initial benchmark cut points to obtain the right level of accuracy for identifying at-risk students. A lenient cut point can result in false positives that end up being more costly to the school, while a more stringent cut point may miss students at risk for potential reading problems. In general, it's best to set screening cut points that will identify a pool of children and then follow up with regular progress monitoring to further determine those most at risk. Remember, screening is just the start. Progress monitoring ensures that students continue to receive interventions at a level of intensity matched to their developing needs.